next session is AI opportunities for health at the Digital Health and Wellness Summit. So, for those of you who were here this morning, we touched on obviously AI in the first session, and we started to tease out some of the use cases that Aina Vasco was explaining. We're going to pick that theme up again now. So I'm going to quickly introduce the speakers. So the first is Dr. Hector Uki, and from IBM, who's going to outline a bit about Watson. He's the Assistant Chief Health Officer at IBM Watson and specializes in integrated care and disability management. And then Dr. JORDI Pons, who is the founder of Universal Doctor and a top 50 health IT leader who set up a social enterprise developing global health and multilingual healthcare. So we've got two distinguished speakers again on the panel, and without further ado, I'm going to let them start the session. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So IBM has different units, and one of them is Watson Health. So I'm part of Watson Health. We are about probably almost 8,000 people worldwide. We are just dedicated for this specific area. There are other colleagues also working on healthcare and social care, but in terms of Watson Health, it's very much with some solutions that we have for this concrete segment or these concrete sectors, healthcare and social care. Watson Health in this unit is already serving more or less more than 100 million users and patients, citizens worldwide, with different solutions like Watson for Oncology, Watson for Genomics, Watson Health for Social Program Management, and some others. I will try to share with you mainly a point of view around integrated care and some of the aspects how artificial intelligence can help on it. But first of all, let me share with you three main ideas that I think are important for this presentation. The first one is we are facing a very complex situation for human beings. So, first message, it's very complex for all of us, for the time being, for all the things that we have been sharing today. The second one is that human beings were, are, and will be irreplaceable. And the third one is that artificial intelligence can help to support better outcomes in this complexity where we are currently going through. So, if we talk about artificial intelligence, three main principles: it has to have a purpose, it has to be transparent, and we have to be sure that it has the adequate skills. So the purpose is very important. It was shared today. Why are we, what are we doing, and what are we getting some specific data, what are we working on that data? That's very important. So the purpose, why are we doing that? The second one is transparency. There is a lot of, let's say, confusion in the stakeholders because the lack of transparency from time to time on what is really happening inside those algorithms and inside all these activities around artificial intelligence. It's very important to have very much transparency on this. The third point is skills. These are machines that are trained by human beings. So one has to be sure who's training whom, what are the algorithms behind those activities that this machine learning and all this activity, that this technology is conducting. Well, I want to focus very much on integrated care. I know we are doing a lot of things on healthcare. We are already going through the healthcare path where there is a lot of ongoing activities on coordination, there are a lot of activities on engaging the patient and so on. That for sure is something that has to be done, and we should continue doing this. The other thing is, of course, on the social care side, social services side, I'm also including here social security. So people that are in need, people that needs, for instance, unemployment benefits, daily benefits, wheelchair, all these type of activities are running through this one. There are already ongoing activities worldwide in many countries where they're trying to coordinate more activities in the social care side, where the different stakeholders and the user can be also involved. So the challenge is, for those people, there are people that are exactly in the middle of those two sectors. We are not anymore just talking about healthcare path. We are not just talking about social care path. We are also talking about people that are in need of health and social care at the same time. It's not just addressing social determinants on health. It's mainly bringing the person in the middle, in the center. That's why I'm not anymore talking about patients in the middle, should be the person in the middle. For whatever reason, when we start to talk about integrated care, suddenly the person is kidnapped on the health side. So you start to talk about person, and at the end of the day, you talk patient. And whenever you talk about patient, you're already kidnapping, so to say, the person in that health environment. And let me give you a concrete example. My father, he had a stroke, and he died after the stroke, and etc. But the interesting issue for what we are talking now is that in the case of that situation, my mother had, we count that for a very peak week, she had 45 interactions with the health sector and the social sector. So she had to ask for disability management for my father. She had to ask for the old age pension. And on the other hand, she also has to ask for nutritionist, dietist, physiotherapist, and etc. So we count 45 interactions. So who's coordinating that? The patient, the user, the person. It's not the systems. The systems are not coordinating that. It's not taking into consideration that you are a person and that you have this type of literacy. No, it's acting in a way that we make it easier for the person. Now, in doing this, we can't put more burden on the practitioners, on the person. We can't ask the doctors to address social services. We can't ask the social carers to address health services. Each of us are very much drowning in data. So one of the things that can be used is artificial intelligence to help to make this easier and a little bit smoother for the users. So let's take this example. Let us assume that you have a computer answering this question. I can imagine all of us will say that this will be an easy question for a computer. Let's take it the other way around. Let's say, who's Theresa May? In this one, it's a little bit trickier because May is also a month. So it could be tricky, but we all assume that in this case, it's easier to answer it. Now, what about this question? William Wilkinson's An Account of the Principalities of Wallachia and Moldavia inspired this author's most famous novel. This is a very complex question. I assume that all of us are reading this several times. So the computer, Watson, which is the artificial intelligence from IBM, answered these questions in less than 3 seconds. So in doing this, you can go in YouTube and look Jeopardy and how IBM won Jeopardy. This was the last question. So what I'm saying is, this is not anymore science fiction. This is a computer that is able to read 200 million pages in 3 seconds. 200 million pages in 3 seconds. And you can ask them afterwards what was read. So imagine this used in our sectors, used for healthcare and for social care to help us as practitioners. I am a physician and I am very much in favor of integrated care, putting the person in the middle. As I said at the very beginning, human beings were, are, and will be irreplaceable. We can think, and we think what we are thinking. So in other words, we are a very complex creature. So we are not going to be replaced. But we can use this technology to help us to dig into concrete information. So to give a concrete example, this is a social care note that in this concrete example, this is already happening. It was trained to detect depression based on algorithms trained by human beings and managing mainly the algorithms and what we expected the machine to find. In this case, in order to make it easier for the social care worker to navigate into that social notes, then as Watson was asked to go into the social care notes and to read and to find out depression. Depression not as a diagnosis, but as some elements that could help the social care worker to address concrete actions on that concrete person. This is an example of Watson for Oncology is managing. This is a demo that is running in YouTube. But what I wanted to show is that in this concrete example, the doctor is sitting in front of the patient and then ask Watson to go into the electronic and medical records and also to read some publications and to come back with some recommendations based on guidelines already given to Watson. It's not that Watson is diagnosing, it's mainly providing assistance to the doctor to take that, to find out that concrete guidelines. In this case, just to close it, Watson read more than 100,000 articles in less than 17 seconds to provide information to this doctor. Now, with this information, is the doctor the one that is taking the decision, is the social care that is taking the decision, is the person that is going to be more empowered to take decisions. This is just another example of training Watson to read images, X-rays, tomographies, and etc. So, in other words, this is not anymore happening somewhere, it's already happening. It can help us, and it's technology that is already available, and we can use this technology to dig into structured and unstructured data to help us to support our daily work. This is mainly what I wanted to share. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's not easy to talk after IBM, but we'll try our best. Okay, I'm a family doctor. Some of you know me. I'm Dr. JORDI Serrano Pons. I'm in love with health and technology. But basically, I will explain just in 30 seconds what I want to try to explain to you is we're going to make a summary 3 minutes of the last 10 years of our work and how a little bit the frustration of that this work is not scaling up, not because we are not doing well or bad, that must be others and say that, but the traction of patients, of doctors using our tools. And now, about all that, now we have to add artificial intelligence, and we thought, oh, it seems a little bit difficult, no? Because people still don't use much, some of them, yes. Our tools, not only our tools, other tools. And now we have to add another layer. As our colleagues said before, in the other session, we even don't know which questions we want to ask sometimes. We even don't know anything, and we want to add and play with that, no? That this is the context and how we can make things work together. And then we discover the chatbots, no? A little bit, how like an interface layer that could allow us to increase the use of of digital tools and to start using artificial intelligence. So in that context, it's why I'm going to explain you our experience. I have explained my history already. I'm an entrepreneur. I have an NGO called Zero Mothers Die, and I've been lucky to work with WHO some years. And basically, we started developing a tool called Universal Doctor, a translation tool. But nowadays, we spend maybe 5% of our time with this tool. We have been developing more than 23, 24 tools already. Many different tools. You can classify them by different aspects. Data collection tools, tools that have to do with neglected disease, maternal health tools, mental health tools, aging tools. I just came from Miami to launch the aging tool for WHO. And obviously, all these tools together, no? What we're trying to do, as I will explain now, is connect them, no? And use these new technologies that people, first of all, use them, And then we can, at the end, collect the data that we were aiming at. That's why we are launching, practically in less than 1 month, finally, or what we call trying to connect the different Legos. Finally, we're connecting our translator with different symptom checkers, with different travel advice, for example. The first one will be our travel health companion, as everybody knows us as the multilingual aspect, no? But basically, our work with WHO, it's nice, but say, when people will start using all these things, no? And how we can connect all these silos between each and another. Mental health, very important. We can know, and the colleague was suggesting, how people feel, but who will write these feelings, for example, no? Will we have an accurate record of the state of the patient at that moment? Or do we need, which professionals will be using these tools? Because we don't have many professionals that are really qualified for these things, no? And each of our tool is the same. We implemented that palliative tool in Uganda, Zimbabwe, and India, fantastic. But to scale it, will we have enough professionals of palliative care? Maybe not. That's why we have to use these dashboards and these things to make these tools work. Aging and so on. Many pilots, but finally, or you connect the tools, or you don't find, finally, an answer to that. No? And after that connection, we thought, okay, how we could use artificial intelligence to finally connect them. And artificial intelligence is not only about big data and amount sets of data, that also. No? It's about using some type of CNN, vision artificial intelligence, NLP, of course, natural language processing, to, with the chatbots, connect all these things. No? And that's why we explain now that we are launching chatbots for global health, as you will see. But basically, we could do many things with artificial intelligence. Where we forget that there is also a micro level. There are many companies here, some of them, Medictor, IOMed, many companies here using artificial intelligence to do, for example, a diagnosis, symptom checkers, treatment, data collection. But also, we don't have to forget that there is the population health aspect. Okay? We could have platforms to use all this data and to predict things. Obviously, people must remember that to predict, you must use some kind of artificial intelligence. No? And neural networks need hundreds of thousands of data, at least 100,000 data to predict. If not, you are making just a linear regression. With 4 points, I can make a linear regression. Okay? But of course, with a lot of data, I can make a prediction. Having said that, everybody, doctors still don't know what a CNN is, what a neural network is, how I can use it, and all these things. Engineers, and it's nice that sometimes engineers on the other session, somebody say, yeah, doctors are ignorant about that. Well, engineers also should put themselves in the shoes of doctors and try to explain what we could achieve, no? And doctors also the opposite. It's not possible that you find in a hospital a big hackathon of a weekend and people really wasting our time because they think, oh, we will do that prediction, and then they have an N of 300 cases. It is a lie, no? And everybody should know that it's not the case, no? Many challenges for AI, data quality, many gaps, but even with that, we found a niche that is helping us to boost our traction. We see many more traction now. We are having testing these chatbots that we are developing, and we believe that that will be like the layer interface. That's why we are launching chatbots for global health, which, as we are very specialized in global health, and it will be useful for educational purposes. In Nigeria, we would need all this amount of doctors just to achieve the level of healthcare that we have here. Impossible, no? That's why a lot of chatbots for educational purposes to teach not only citizens but also doctors to update them. We have been working with different platforms, and basically, finally, we are launching now 2 bots with WHO also. One of Chagas, it's called Chagi. Chagi asks you, what do you want to know about Chagas? And 2 other bots about tuberculosis. One bot about general aspects of tuberculosis, and another bot of specific. If you are a doctor in a place where there is multi-resistance to the tuberculosis, as you know, it's very difficult to update which antibiotics you have to do. Can you test the bot 1 moment? Because if not. Imagine that we are going fast here, but just put /drug, for example. No. Yeah? Okay. It's asking you which drug can you test? Okay. As you can see, it understands four drugs, so a lot of possibilities, no, with the NLP, and we're working with that. So we have a list of hundreds of possibilities to be in, no, to enter. But then the organizations must be calm, because everything can be in, but only will be out what we decide together. Okay? I think it's very important, because you can ask many things to the organizations, and the answers will be given. Let's come back to the Sanitas is doing also a wonderful bot that we are also using. They have a wonderful mental health bot. People, from my point of view, have the obligation, okay? We are starting to work with them, okay, to share things. Okay, they have a wonderful bot. If you share things that others can implement in other places, would be nice, okay? And nobody has to reinvent the wheel again and again. Basically, another company called MedLab in Madrid also, okay? They have a wonderful kind of a WhatsApp, encrypted WhatsApp. We are going to launch very soon with them. Imagine a WhatsApp that you can have doctors talking to each other. Imagine a doctor, specialized doctor, talking with a doctor of primary health care. There could be a bot in the middle. Could be a bot in the middle to ask questions. There could be a bot in the middle between a specialist doctor and I'm an asthmatic person. Maybe I cannot contact the specialist. But if the bot sends information that my SO2 is low, then the bot could open like a waiting, okay, room, and then I can contact my doctor. Okay? All these things will be done. We are launching with them these bots. And as I tell you, doctors must understand what it's all about. Okay? And there's an obligation to explain them, because once they know all the possibilities, well, they're the ones that will customize them, use them, and update the systems with the bots. No? Many things can be done. We are connecting different things. Our first 3 Legos connected are these ones. Will be available in 1 month, more or less. And basically, just to tell you that even if you want to connect things, you must be also generous. No? We are partnering with Orca. No? Orca, wonderful people. What we're trying to do is put our Legos together, use artificial intelligence with chatbot, but still, when we will believe that we'll be given an advice to some people, we will advise people to get out of our platform with generosity to go to another place where they will find hundreds of apps validated for their healthcare. I think it's important, going out, because it's very important to share that. The chatbot for Global Health Platform, it's been launched. We have the bot of Chagas of tuberculosis. We're launching a bot of meningitis with the people of Salud Sin Bulos, which is in Spanish something like no fake news in healthcare. It's a strong movement. We're launching a bot of meningitis, very important. And we will be launching many different bots, not only for patients, for citizens, but also for healthcare workers. And we would like you to join us, because we need all of you working together and making things happening and using a little bit of artificial intelligence. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm beginning to think that JORDI never sleeps, judging by the amount of things that he's up to. Right, so questions for the two on the panel. So there's a lady over here, I can't see where the mic is. Where's the mic? Yeah.
Good afternoon, thank you very much for the nice talks. My name is Maite Ferrando, I'm leading a small consultancy working on innovation, and I would like to ask Hector in particular about, because some of the projects I'm involved in were also trying to develop digital technologies for integrated care, and one of the main challenges were related with the difficulty in transferring or scaling up solutions, because these digital solutions for integrated care are dealing with very specific requirements of the different contexts in the different countries, regions, all the actors, all the stakeholders working, providing care to the patient come from different structures, very different situations. So in most of the projects, it was difficult to transfer this result to different contexts because of the specific requirements. So I would like to learn from you how you have tackled these specific requirements and you have managed to provide a kind of generalized solution that is transferable for the different contexts.
Well, thank you for the question. I think one has to split it in different ways. So, first, we all have to think big, but to start small. That's the first issue. In starting small, it also depends in who is, for the time being, interested in doing it. We have some regions where there is a very high political impulse. There is a political will to move it forward. And when I say political, it's not the politicians, it's politicians, but also healthcare providers, social care providers that already agreed to go in this direction. If that is the case, then it's easier in terms of agreeing things, but it's difficult in terms of the technology, because the more people that you have involved, the larger that the solution has to be. So some of the experiences that we have is that there are some commonalities. We have some things that independently of the region and independently of the case, you can put it very much across. And there are, of course, some issues when you go in concrete to start, you have to start small. So you can always think big, but you have to start small. Even if you have that political will, you have to start small. So, concrete answer is, find commonalities to make the solution scalable. And second, be sure to start small with the possibilities to have as much as possible agreement amongst the different stakeholders right from the beginning, especially in this integrated care area.
So next question. While some of you are thinking about what the question is you want to ask, I'm going to ask one. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the Gartner curve. And in relation to AI, where do we think it is? Is it at the hype stage? Is it the trough of disillusionment? Where do we think AI is in healthcare?
I think it depends, because, for example, your company in that, no, if you say we're gonna reach the Mars, no, and then you reach the moon, no, it's very good. Yeah. But of course, you have said that you would reach the Mars, no, and not only talking about your company, but many other people, no, normal small companies. AI still is at the beginning of everything, at the beginning of the beginning, because people must understand what is AI. We are confusing people. We are using a statistical inference, and then we say that it's AI. So even we are not using AI in many places. So it's at the beginning. But what we can do, automatizing processes, it's amazing. And it will be like an obligation. Like I predict that it will be like a human right to have a device having a scan of the retina. No? When you have all this data, here in Catalonia, we have a family doctor in central Catalonia, no, that is promoting something himself with a small company with the data set of the government, of everybody. Excellent. Entrepreneurship of doctors. If this data is well tagged, because it's important, we have data, but it's not well processed. That's very important that doctors, no, healthcare workers, really tag the data and everything very well, because that can be a treasure in the future. So if that is well done and people work to each other and we coordinate, we collaborate, really, we're at the beginning of many, many things, no?
And let me add, I think it's a journey. I agree with Jordi. I mean, this is a journey. It's starting. So we all of us, in the possibility to learn more on this, to get skills on this, to take control of this. So we are still on time. I'm saying this because I have the impression with conversations that I have with other colleagues that it's like, oh my God, this is already gone. No, it's just starting. we can take it. So take time to read what is artificial intelligence, to to understand it for yourself, what is exactly that, how that I can use it, what is going to be the impact on my profession. Is it really real that it's going to replace my work, yes or no? I mean, take time to take it. It's happening, and it's going to happen more and more and more. It's a journey, but it's very, very fast. It's very fast.
One thing regarding that it's gone, I understand that people say, oh, this big platform,
Yeah.
it's gone. Look, if you want to make predictions to some specific population, CPOD for example, you say, no, this platform is already, look, for specific patients, there are already algorithms, public open source algorithms, that then you can customize, and you need your people in-house to customize, no? Of course, some platforms will give you the possibility of customizing it for each person, but doctors will have to know which values, which everything. And we will need the implication of the people. Health, thanks God, is local, no? It's very local, no? So in that sense, it's not gone. It's the beginning.
So I think for those people out in the audience who are from SMEs, there's a warning here, okay? So AI has the possibility of becoming the emperor's new clothes. And frankly, it's not credible for very small startups to be saying we're AI experts. And healthcare systems will be very, very skeptical about claims where they're looking for evidence base around. So if you think about healthcare systems are used to random clinical trials, gold standard for evidence. So they immediately have a problem with some of this type of technology. So I think very small businesses have got to be careful that they don't just use AI and actually they're just doing some simple machine learning and they're not actually doing the sophisticated things. So I'm going to ask a question now of the audience. I want you to put your hand up if you'd feel comfortable talking to a chatbot about a health matter. So who's up for talking to chatbots? Come on. Well, okay, a small number of you. So I think what's interesting for us to perhaps just talk about is, why do we think that we're not comfortable, let's say, with a chatbot, or should we be comfortable with a chatbot? I'm conscious that, for example, for sexually transmitted diseases, for mental health things, actually chatbots may be more attractive to human beings than having to meet somebody face to face about something that you might be embarrassed about. So, Jordi, what's your sort of experience of that?
In a randomized control trial in San Diego, in the two legs, one leg was asked by a chatbot and another for humans. And regarding the questions of STDs, sexuality, no doubt, and just to tell if you were HIV positive or not, the level of the level of the true with the group of the chatbot was super high, 100%, and talking to a human, it was lower. For obvious reasons, obviously it has to be based evidence demonstrated, but I think for all these kind of things, look, this is all our shyness, all our shameful things are here, sorry, no? So a chatbot will allow us to ask many questions, and I feel that people will feel more comfortable to ask the questions to chatbots. For other things, of course, we always need humans. By the way, when we say technology matters, no? It's human technology matters, no?
Yeah. I think this. We were at Partners Healthcare Symposium last October, and MIT, one of the professors at MIT was showing, which you can see on YouTube, and she did an experiment with children about what did children in the pediatrics react with. So they had a cuddly toy that spoke. They had a computer that spoke, and they had a chatbot, and they were surprised at actually what the children empathized with. So actually the children went for the cuddly toy, and then they did it with seniors, and interestingly the seniors went with the chatbot. So it was very interesting. There's a lot of behavioral science going on that actually is a key part of enabling the use of AI and making it more acceptable. So with that, we're drawing to this session. So I'd like you to thank the panel. Thank you.